Greetings and good morning from Utrecht in the central area of the Netherlands. Today we are taking a ride on the NS Sprinter service to Rotterdam Centraal. We actually don't start our trip at Utrecht Centraal, but in a small neighborhood located very close to Wilhelmina Park. I chose to start the ride here so that I could get some content on the UOV bus service, which takes passengers to many places around Utrecht. We have a fairly short wait for our bus's arrival, and we can soon catch our ride to the train station. To climb aboard, passengers have to scan their credit cards at the small machine here, which takes almost no time. Just as soon as I get seated, we're off to the train station. While we're driving, let's take a quick look at the seating on the bus. There is a decent amount of space to the seat across, which allows me to stretch out my legs if need be, but I wouldn't recommend doing so with a passenger sitting across from you unless you want to annoy him. Right on the windowsill are a few bars to grab if the bus ever lurches on potholes or speed bumps. The seating and armrests aren't too comfortable and are rather hard, but seeing as we're only on this bus for about 15 minutes, they work just fine. Overall, the seating is just about what you would expect for a local city bus. One thing that's quite interesting about this bus is how flexible the middle section is. Most buses that are quite long would have trouble going around curves with just one single piece body, which is why some buses have an accordion in the middle to make turning around easier. Our ride is quite short, and before you know it, our bus pulls up to Utrecht Centraal. Heading up the escalators, we soon enter the station's main hall. The hall here in Utrecht is quite wide, and the ceiling is about average height. Located all around are a number of departure boards, as well as a few grocery stores and cafes if passengers want to grab something to eat. Looking at the board, it showed that our train to Rotterdam was due to depart in about 24 minutes, so we soon begin making our way through the station towards where our train will be departing. Similar to the UOV bus service, passengers are required to scan their credit card in order to enter the station, which, as always, takes no time. Our train will be departing out of track 12B, and seeing as our departure time is growing close, we can head down onto the tracks where our train awaits. Our ride to Rotterdam will be on one of NS's Sprinter trains. While operating a number of these shorter commuter train services, NS also operates a number of intercity trains around the Netherlands, one of which we actually took a ride on in last week's video. There's a link to it below, so check it out if you haven't. As I stated in that previous video, standards in the Netherlands are rather strict when it comes to schedule. It just so happened that I got on board about 5 minutes before our scheduled departure time, which meant that we ended up waiting for a little bit to get moving. To avoid leaving passengers behind, it's ensured that trains never depart behind or ahead of schedule, which makes it easy to determine when you should head to your train. Eventually, our train gets moving, beginning our ride to Rotterdam. We slowly pick up speed as we head out of urbanization and into the Netherlands countryside. Let's see what the seating is like on the Sprinter. The seat groups of 4 offer a ton of space to the seat across, making it easy to stretch out, but just like on the bus, it's not a good idea to do so if a passenger is sitting across from you. The padding on the seating is relatively good for a commuter service, at least that I have seen, and is overall pretty comfortable. The seats, however, still don't recline, as is the case on most commuter trains. Located right below the window is the small table, which can really only hold a couple small things. The armrest, while somewhat padded, is still pretty hard, but it at least folds up to make entrance easier. Under each seat is a pair of outlets, and seeing as passengers often take these trains for work, they greatly come in handy. Overall, this seating is just about what you'd expect to find on a commuter train. As we headed through the countryside, our train began going at an apparent high speed. While I didn't have anything to measure it, we appeared to be going at triple-digit speed. This may not be the fastest train in Europe, but it's still fast enough to get us to our destination in a reasonable amount of time. If you're having fun on the NS Sprinter so far, I suggest tapping that subscribe button down below, as it's a great way to help support the channel. I'd also love to say a huge thank you to all the considerable growth on this channel in recent times, as it's a true motivation for me to keep making great content. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up soon, so stick around if you want to see it. Before arriving in Rotterdam, I figured I'd take a look at a more standard seat row. The legroom is considerably more limited than in groups of 4, however you can still stretch out underneath the seat, but this bar down here made it rather difficult to do so. The padding on the seat and armrests are exactly the same, with the armrest again folding in and out. One issue with these seats is that there is no tray table. This means that if passengers have to use their devices on the ride, they'll have to hold them in their lap, which can be a bit of an inconvenience. Finally, there are some small racks where passengers can store their luggage, but looking at the size, it seemed easy for larger belongings to fall off. Most of our ride to Rotterdam has been through bog and swamp, as we passed through a lot of damp farmland. I was even lucky enough to spot a few swans on the ride as they swam through the bog. This was a near miss, but I got a quick shot of a small field of solar panels. Solar panels are a high-tech device used to harness the sun's energy to make electricity. By doing this, it allows us to power our machines without using fossil fuels, allowing us to reduce our carbon emissions by a lot. A transition to solar power will greatly save the environment from the threats that it is currently facing, and it's only a matter of time before they become more common. As we pulled into Rotterdam Centraal, I spotted the Thalys high-speed train resting in the yard. Thalys operates a number of high-speed train trips around the Netherlands, and makes for a faster way to get between Rotterdam and Amsterdam on the route that we're on now. I plan on coming back and checking out this service in the future, but with our train now arriving in Rotterdam Centraal, it's now time to get off. Now off the train, it's time to wrap up today's video. In the next one, I'll be continuing our day of exploration in Rotterdam with a visit to the Rotterdam Zoo. Anyways, if you enjoy my videos, I suggest clicking a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't. I'd also love to say a huge thank you to the considerable growth on this channel in recent times, as it's a true motivation for me to keep making great content like this. There's some great content coming up soon, so stick around if you want to see it. Anyways, that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed the ride, and I will see you all next time. Take care.